I had never seen him look at me that way before. Not in anger, not in disappointment, not even in frustration. It was worse. It was the kind of silence that screamed louder than any words could. The kind of quiet that makes you feel the weight of every misstep, every thoughtless action, every careless word you've ever said in your life. And all of it had begun with what I thought was an innocent joke. We were having a quiet Saturday evening at home, just the three of us, me, my husband, and the faint hum of our old ceiling fan. Our friends were away for the weekend, leaving us with a rare moment of peace. I'd been scrolling through my phone earlier, laughing at some memes one of my guy friends had sent me. Alex was harmless, always had been, and I often joked about his ridiculous antics in our group chats. That night, without thinking, I mentioned him aloud in a teasing way. You know, sometimes I wonder why Alex hasn't dated anyone yet. Maybe he's waiting for me to finally fall for him, I said, laughing, fully expecting my husband to laugh along with me. But the laughter didn't come. He froze mid-sip of his coffee, his eyes locked on me with a stillness that made me swallow hard. At first, I thought it was a weird joke he didn't get, so I nudged him playfully. "Relax, I'm just kidding," I said. "Still nothing. Are you okay?" I asked, my voice a little nervous now. His silence stretched on, oppressive and heavy, and suddenly I felt a flicker of fear. Finally, he set his cup down, slowly, deliberately, as though the act itself required all the energy he had. "Why would you say that?" he asked quietly, but there was an edge to it that made my stomach drop. I was joking," I said, trying to force lightness into my tone. "It's nothing serious, I swear." His eyes didn't soften. If anything, they became harder, sharper. "It's never nothing serious when it comes to this," he said. The words were calm, but I could feel them slicing through the air between us. "You don't joke about things like that, not with me, not with us." I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to laugh it off, to say he's overreacting, but his expression stopped me. I knew immediately that I had crossed some invisible boundary, and I hated myself for it. "I didn't mean anything by it," I whispered, guilt creeping into every syllable. "It doesn't matter what you meant," he said, standing up abruptly. I watched, helpless, as he walked to the window and stared out at the fading sunlight. The room felt colder without his presence nearby. "What matters is that I can't hear jokes about someone else like that. About someone you're close to. From my wife." I sank onto the couch, feeling a lump in my throat. "I wasn't thinking," I admitted. "It was dumb, I get it." But he held up a hand, cutting me off. "Don't," he said simply. That one word, so small, carried a weight that knocked the air from my lungs. He wasn't yelling, wasn't even raising his voice, but the silence that followed was worse than any argument we'd ever had. I felt small, exposed, like a child caught doing something unforgivable. We sat there in the same room, and yet it felt like miles apart. I wanted to reach for him, to explain, to apologize, to fix this, but every attempt felt futile. Every word I could think of sounded hollow. My heart ached with a heaviness I had never known. Finally, he turned to me, and I caught the glint of hurt in his eyes. "I love you," he said softly, and it almost broke me, but then he shook his head. "But I don't know if I can forgive this, not right now. You joke about him, you tease about him, and I feel like I don't know who I am in your life anymore." Tears burned in my eyes. I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out. How could I have been so careless? All I had wanted was a laugh, a light moment in an otherwise ordinary day, but I had shattered something precious in a few thoughtless words. Hours passed. We didn't speak much. I tried to give him space, tried to let him process whatever storm was raging inside him, but the silence was deafening. I kept thinking about every joke I'd ever made, every time I had laughed about my guy friends in front of him, and the guilt was unbearable. Later that evening, he finally spoke again, softer this time, but still with a distance that felt insurmountable. "I know you didn't mean it," he said, "but meaning doesn't fix the damage. Every time you bring him up like that, it's like I'm losing a piece of us. I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to feel inadequate. But right now I do. And I hate that I feel this way." I reached out, trembling, and he didn't pull away. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I never meant to hurt you. You're my world. I swear I'll never joke like that again." He looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw the man I had married, the man who loved me, who trusted me, and who was trying so hard not to let this moment break him. His silence had been his armor, his way of showing me how deeply my words had cut. We didn't talk much after that night, not in depth. But the silence had done its work. It had forced me to see the consequences of my thoughtlessness, the fragility of trust, and the real cost of a joke said without thinking. I understood then more than ever that love isn't just laughter and shared smiles. It's boundaries, respect, and the care to never intentionally wound the one person who holds your heart. Days later, the air between us began to ease. He was warmer though still cautious. I learned to be mindful, to choose my words carefully, to never let a careless joke threaten what we had. That silence, that heartbreaking quiet had changed me. It had taught me the true power of words, and the fragility of a heart you think is unshakable until you see it falter. And though I had broken something that night, I knew we could rebuild it, carefully, slowly, and with a love that was now tempered with the kind of respect that only real vulnerability could forge.